Welcome back to another episode of Boys Love Only Friends. This is episode 8. And boys love Only Friends. I'm so excited for the show to be over. And I don't mean that in like I want it to be over. It's more like I want to know, where does this end? How does this resolve?
I think I mean it.
Oh, you don't like it?
I'm exhausted.
It's a lot.
It's so tiring.
I give a lot of myself to this show.
And you know what? This episode, I think, is meant to be the most exhausting. But then I say that, and then the next episode gets worse. Who knows what the future can hold? Yeah. And the train still feels like it's still in... It's still about to crash.
I think it's still mid-crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the longest train crash.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm a little tired. How are you?
Oh, thanks. I'm okay. Thank you for asking.
How's the world of the alphas and the betas and the omegas?
Don't do this. Do not do this.
How are they?
They're fine. Thank you for asking. Sometimes I read tea.
I mean, the girlies know. They've been following me on Twitter. I am on a new BL.
Oh yeah, you're doing visual
discovery.
imagery.
Yeah.
What imagery would not be visual?
The pit of hell will be busy today after this episode.
You think someone else gets to the pit of hell?
Yes, girl.
Even if it's mostly self-destructive.
But is it though? Is it self?
Well, this is the problem is like you cannot remove the self from the collective.
Yes. Because you're doing it at the Airbnb that you said that you would do your group project.
How is this group project not done? Mew and Ray are getting frisky at the club. Okay?
And I'll say this. It's hot, okay?
Short tops and tall bottoms. And by that, I don't mean they're having sex, but like Ray is in the top position as he's behind Mew.
Mm-hmm.
Whew! I gave so much shit to this show for being like, wow, he's a real ugly duckling that became a swan because he took his glasses off. He is so attractive without his glasses. Bulletin. Breaking news. Book's hot. There was a fanboy who went to the forcebook.
No.
And he's just like, and they do like thumbs up with him. And I was like, when will it be my turn? I gotta know.
Why do people live the lives I want to live?
That's what I'm saying. Shum and April are also at the bar. And Shum is like,
bitch, I gotta get in there and cut this shit out.
Chopped.
Because Mew's not going to class.
Mew's not working on the group project. Mew's drinking.
Girl, Mew wasn't working on the group project.
Yeah, Nick was working on the group project. The person not in the group. What are we talking?
And April, Miss April, continues to be the level-headed girly of the group.
Which is ironic because she's an artiste.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, you would have the artist character be the like the you.
Like the me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Famously, I make all reckless decisions.
Yeah. No, not reckless. Like the one who's like flighty.
Flighty, yeah. Oh.
Oh.
I was definitely flighty that one evening back in
2013.
2013.
Happy 10 year, by the way.
April was straight up like, you can't. Like, they have to, it was like, they have to basically like self-destruct on their own, and then they'll come back to you when they've learned that you were right.
Okay, there's no absolutes, blah, 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 blah. There's no, every rule is made to be broken, blah, 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 fine. I think she's right.
I think that's what they need.
I think that's correct.
They just need a firm hand. I have a set of OnlyFriends. I'm just saying, and there is something about like the push and pull of where are you going? No, you're trying to not incriminate yourself in this. I'm just saying, there is a push and pull sometimes of like, I want to make sure my friend make a wrong decision. But then there's also the pull of like, they're an adult and they know better to know what decision to make.
The only one of the most effective tools to learn something is to do it wrong.
Is to do it wrong,
first time,
and then learn from it,
and learn from your mistake. If that wasn't the way evolutionarily we have been created, then when your mom says don't jump out the window because you're going to break your leg, and then you do it, you would just listen. You would never jump out the window. But you're dumb and you want to jump out the window and then you break your leg. So this is what this reminds me of. So there is a children's book series called Mrs. Pigglewiggle.
Girl, you're bringing her into
that
this.
I read.
Mrs. Pigglewiggle went, now why am I in it?
Mrs. Pigglewiggle was that bitch, honey. If there was like an American version.
You know I'm...
I am that girl. Mary Poppins was very like kids be kids, have fun, but like learn. There's not. I don't even know if there's always morals in the stories of Mary Poppins.
Playing the game.
Mrs. Pigglewiggle would come in. The story I remember, I read these in like 4th grade. The story I remember specifically was Mrs. Pigglewiggle came into this house. I think there were 4 kids in this house, but it was the 50s, so everybody was like procreating like it was their job because it was technically their job. 4 kids, none of them wanted to go to bed, and the mom was like, would give them an early bedtime and like get mad at them when they didn't want to go to sleep and blah blah blah. So Miss Pigglewiggle said, "You gotta let me handle it, honey." And the mom was like, "Okay." Miss Pigglewiggle goes, "Stay up all night, no bedtime." So they stay up, and then guess what?
They fall asleep.
They can't do anything. They're supposed to go out to like the amusement park next day or whatever, and they can't go because they fell asleep. They were too tired to go. They learned their lesson. Now this is what Mew needs to do,
and I think she does.
I think we're on that trajectory.
I think we're on the trajectory.
Ray, I think, is like, I don't know what's gonna help Ray. Not that I started off being like Ray's in a great place, but Ray like is in a worse place now than he was when we started the show. As someone who has never lost a parent, there's only so much that you can be like, well, I lost my mom, to where it's like, okay, but girl, like
you are still alive.
We all lose our parents someday. Right? Of course not. Hopefully not during your formative years.
Gotta take responsibility for yourself.
Okay. Well, now that I'm on note 2, Sand also sees Ray and Mew at the bar. So that's going to set up a really fun through line.
It's really crazy.
For the rest of the show.
This entire episode, when we were watching the reaction, I was just so mad at everyone. No one's... I was so mad at everyone.
No one's having a good time.
Because, Sand sees this, right? But it doesn't stop him.
No.
He uses it against him to be like, well, I won't be second fiddle. Why don't you just go do this with Mew, since Mew's who you... And it's like...
just walk away.
Yeah.
You gotta just walk away. Some people take walking away as taking an L. But sometimes you just gotta walk away. It doesn't mean anything. There's no meaning to it.
You're preserving your peace, my king.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Live to slay another day and preserve your peace.
So Ray and Sand are outside.
Sand smoking.
Sand is smoking outside the bar. Ray comes outside and is like, "Hey, fancy meeting you here." And Sand's like, "I work here. This is the place of my employ."
At this moment, I was mad at Ray because I was like, "Leave him the fuck alone."
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I ever switched to only disliking Sand. This second half of the show feels very spoiled rich kid gets what he wants. Mm-hmm. And the first half of the show didn't feel that way.
The money...
It was definitely like rich kid makes bad choices.
Yeah, I agree.
And then they have this conversation about still being friends. And this is iconic because in the reaction, he goes, "We can still be friends." And I said... "You weren't friends to begin with." And then Sand said, "We weren't friends to begin with." And I was like, I wrote this episode.
So I have you to blame?
Oh, yeah. They overhear a fight between Plug and Yo. 2 characters that we've barely spent time with on this show.
Yeah, and they essentially...
And they really have the surrogate
They literally have... They are... Yo and... Plug is saying the exact same things that Sand wants to say. And it's just like, we've been hanging out, blah, 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 but when we want to, like, make it official and go long term, you, like, don't want to.
Yeah. You're scared of commitment.
And Yo was like, I just have, and then Yo was like, it's never worked out. When I put get my hopes up on someone, they realize that it's not good enough.
Right.
Or, like, it's not actually what they want.
They leave.
So they leave.
Yeah.
So she's preserving her peace. But Plug is like, well, girl, go ahead.
But again, this is the dangerous part of, like, being in a relationship is, like, at some point you have to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. There's no way to let someone in and still have all your guards up because you're not letting them in.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not very vulnerable, Adam.
I'm very strong alpha energy, hard alpha. Is that the energy I give off?
Girl.
What would I be? You don't read them, so you don't know.
You'd be a beta, I think.
Yeah, good. Okay, good answer.
And Mama, and I would be barefoot and pregnant at home.
Preg. They're at college. They're at school. Mew is smoking.
Mew smoking at Skiewl.
I do love it's 2023 and we're still doing, like, you know how someone's bad? They're smoking.
Here's the thing. Smoking at the bar or the club could be fun. Could be smoking in broad daylight at like 11 a.m.
I can't believe the amount of times on this channel that we have talked about smoking. We talk about it once every like 3 weeks.
They won't stop.
I know, it's true.
I just not. That doesn't sound.
No, it's not good.
It doesn't sound good to me.
You're wearing white. I don't know why that feels like it has something to do with it, but something about that is wrong.
But like, yeah, so I could do a social cigarette sounds fun. But a cigarette just to get you by to get through the next class?
Yeah, what does that even mean? Also, like, I've never smoked. You've smoked. You've socially smoked.
Socially smoked a cigarette. Cigarillo.
Cigarillo. I've never smoked. Can I ask a question about it? I'm never going to. Unless we go back to Paris.
Unless only in France.
Only in Paris. Does it, like, do you feel something?
It feels great.
But that's not an answer.
It feels amazing.
What does it mean?
It feels it just feels like a hot.
This sounds horrible to me.
It does. I mean, but then think about like drinking or whatever. Like,
yeah, the thing is like drinking's effect comes after a while.
Yeah, that's true. There's no like buzz from a cigarette. It's in the act of inhaling that you're like, ooh.
I understand the appeal of being like, it's chilly outside.
Oh my God. I've never had a cigarette in winter or fall.
Really?
No, I don't think so. No, maybe I have.
That's not true.
It's been a while. It's been like 10 years.
Because famously, most of the entire school season in Chicago is cold.
In winter. Yeah. Yeah, it's been like 10 years, so I don't really know. But, man.
Well, that was a really fun conversation. We're moving on. Top confronts Mew. Top said, we're smoking now? We're smoking? And Mew's like, you're a cheater. You're have nothing to say to me.
You're a cheater. You snort coke.
Oh, I forgot about the coke. Yeah. Oh, period. How could I forget about the coke? And Mew is in his very like, well, you're a little bit. You're a little cunt. That's the energy Mew is giving this entire episode.
Does it get tiring for you, or you love it?
I feel very vindicated that we called early on that we were like,
something's going on. Well,
he's not a pushover. Mm-mm. Like, that's very clear. He's not a doormat. And I think we weren't necessarily right that he was like scheming behind the scenes the whole time, but more that like he had the ability to do so. A skewering.
I like that it was just one episode. Where it was like at the start of this episode, you could say like it was like the worst. Because I think the one last.
Oh, you don't think it's continuing? I thought there was a little bit of it in the last episode too.
No, in the last episode, it was very more like, yes, more like the awakening, and then like goal oriented. Like he was like, I need to get back at Boston.
Oh yeah, now it's just
this is just everybody. Like I'm trying it out. I'm kind of like being a bitch to everyone.
He's in his Taylor Swift bad girl era.
I'll always bring it up, but you don't.
She just went on Era's tour.
Eras tour. But you don't know the eras. So you keep referencing the eras and you're like,
you know Taylor Swift and her eras. All those eras we need not mention.
So I'm glad that he does crash at the end, because it feels like, okay, I think if he does continually do it, it feels more like directed rather than like here where he's just lashing out. That's why I was getting tired. Cause I was
think it ends? It's at the end.
Not that it ends, but we're gonna see it
dissipate
because now that he's crashed and burned essentially.
I don't know if he has. I don't know if Mew has. He kind of just fell asleep.
He was fucking tweaking, girl, and threw up.
I don't think this character is going to be like, I'm equating those two, and I'm going to stop doing that energy. Because we have 4 more episodes. Yeah. If it was episode 10, I might be like, sure, I think that's the end. Ray finds Sand. So Sand also goes to this school. I feel like maybe it was mentioned in passing one time, but we have not seen him at the school yet. So to see him here, I was like, oh.
Yeah, in a uniform. I was like, oh.
Ray
like
comes
tuning
in.
his little guitar.
He's tuning his guitar. He's probably a music major.
He's singing.
Oh, he's singing. He's tuning his guitar. Ray comes in. Again, leave him alone. Please leave him alone. We need to let
you already
this man
have
rest.
Mew.
You got the thing. This is why I was like, it's giving entitled rich kid wants like everything.
Yeah,
he got what he wanted, but now he's like, but I want more. Well, I think his whole through line is he wants to have a threesome on the show. Truly,
yeah,
because it almost happens again in this episode. Yeah. So he comes in and he's like, "You've been ignoring my texts," and Santa's like, "We're not friends. What's happening right now? Am I unclear in what I'm saying?" Hello? So Ray had gone to court. He got community service, and his options were cleaning the road, something at nursing home, or playing music at an orphanage. And he chose the latter, and then he was like, "Oh, and you have to help
me because you play music. I can sing, but I can't play."
Then why did you choose that? There should be no "do this with me." That's not the point. The point of community service is not
for you to
hang out with your friends. What? It's not okay. So that's the thing that's happening, and unfortunately, it does seem like Sand is talked into it.
I know,
which is a real bummer. It does suck that Sand.
It does suck that Sand likes Ray so much because he's still falling for all of the like cheap tricks.
And unfortunately, I do think Khao is very good at playing Ray's natural like charms. Yeah.
I'm annoyed, but I
understand.
I understand.
Yeah, and it's tough. Shum is working at her family's noodle shop, and she has a customer come in.
Why would you watch such a hurry? You gave me such a... For I thought you was a ghost. Have a minute, can't you see? Sit you down, sit! All I meant is that I haven't seen a customer for weeks. Would you come in for a Thai noodle, sir?
Pussy gets a 6 or 7 at the most. Top comes in and is like, "Shum, you gotta help me.
You gotta help me. You see how rotted, gutted Mew's becoming." And she's like, "Well, you're a fucking cheater, but I agree.
You're not wrong.
But you're not wrong."
She really said to him, "Was Boston's bussy that good?"
And he couldn't answer.
And you know what?
And you know what? Because
that's how you know
it was good. Because he couldn't answer. He was like,
he
literally was like, "It's not about that." Because yes, it was, but it's not about that. That's not why I did it. Of course, we know that's not why you did it.
But also, it wasn't not why you did it. Nick is I think Nick might be the only one that's moving down the list.
I know, because Nick is like, "I'm getting an internship. I'm focusing on my career. I work to live. I'm tired of these girls.
Or I live to work.
Let me live to work." And so he goes on this internship with like a Sambe, from how it reads. He's like a senior that like now like basically runs a I don't think he runs the company, but he runs at least like the design animation company.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah, he says it later.
And they have this interview.
Girl, this is a first date. This is not an interview. This is a first date.
Oh, Sambe, yeah, like, yeah, because the boss was like, well, it's going to be a lot of late nights, so you may not have much of a social life. And he was like, oh, that's okay, I'm single. And the boss is like, oh.
Me too.
He's
so
like,
if you know anybody.
Yeah, so if you know anybody who's interested in older guys, like your age, which he's probably like 3 or 4 years older than him, maybe.
He gave me like maybe 6 or 7 years older.
But I don't think Nick was like flirting back. I think he was genuinely just...
I don't think Nick was flirting back.
He's not picking up the...
I definitely don't think he was picking up the cues.
He's not picking up the Kim Kardashian clues that like, I'm dropping hints that I'm single.
Oh.
I'm single. He's not doing that.
Yeah, it's true. Again, the fact that we were like, I think Nick should get the spinoff. And then in the middle of this show...
felt like the spinoff's about to start.
This is like in the 80s and 90s when they would like do the pilot episode in the show. Mm-hmm, that's what this felt like.
For GMMTV the year after. Ooh, girl.
I'll write it. I'll write it. We'll happily
send it to
write
Mark
it.
directly.
Direct. We'll run it through a quick Google Translate.
We'll pitch it to him. Would it be? I
really like Mark.
I want it to be like a Murphy Brown.
Oh,
Caroline in the City, like just a working girl. Mary Tyler Moore, like a working girl in this movie.
It is full sitcom.
But then he
OTT.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Oh, she learned a new word.
My note was, Nick, get this man. Boston is drinking alone at a bar, and someone named Adam comes in. Now, you are thinking, Adam? Your name's Adam. No, this is Atom.
Adamant.
What?
It's a cartoon. We don't know who Adam is, but...
We don't know who Adam is.
But
they
Boston
know each
alludes
other.
to like, well, a sibling of my friend is a friend of mine. And so I was like, okay, so maybe it's just like a classmate. That's where it ends.
We'll come back to that. But it's definitely like, this show is not going to introduce a character without a male character without there being the insinuation that fucking is going to happen.
Him.
In fact, this show introduced 2 servers at restaurants that were basically like, I fucking force. It's very interesting that they did not write Boston to be like the guy that goes after straight guys to like try to flip them or whatever. Right. There is a turn that happens in this episode, but it is instigated by Adam.
But it's, yes.
A hole's a hole.
Yeah. Have you ever sucked dick before?
Jesus Christ.
Maybe you could try that. I thought that was going to be his new thing.
Yeah, I thought that was the energy.
To kind of continue like, well, if I can't ruin my own friends, well, I think he'll still ruin people's lives.
Oh.
I think he's still going to ruin this man's
life. The fact... well, we'll get to it. Mew and Ray decide that they are going to have the Halloween bash of the season. It's the social event of the season. And everyone's invited via Facebook.
Mrs. Astor was also invited?
Mrs. Astor was invited. Mrs. Fish was invited.
The Van Ryns?
The Van Ryns. The Russells. I would say Book and Carrie Coon are very similar actors. Carrie Coon, one of our finest living actresses, and I genuinely mean that when I say it.
Absolutely.
I saw her live on stage at Steppenwolf, and I'll never forget it. Oh, incredible.
Boys love Carrie Coon.
Boys love Carrie Coon. The problem with this party, though, RJ, is the audio. The audio.
They are technically playing music, and there are sounds in the party of people screaming and hooting and hollering. Those are what we're hearing. But you gotta take it to the next level.
You gotta level up.
And mix the girls, okay? It's got to sound like the music.
You can't just find the audio. You have to mix the audio.
The music has to feel like it's coming from the party bumping with bass. Raw screaming from people.
Mm-hmm. Peaking the levels.
Peaking the levels. Peaking the girls.
It's not good.
Does not a party make, okay?
When
on God's YouTube,
Ray are Harley Quinn and the Joker respectively, but not respectfully.
Yes.
Joker ruined Harley Quinn's life.
Yeah.
Canonically. So.
And here too, girl.
And here too. So Mew has decided to level. We're on the next level of her road to
Terabithia.
the bridge to Terabithia. And has decided that Coke is where the next logical step is. We go from, I'm going to smoke a cigarette. I want to be very clear about the trajectory of this show. The episode starts with her being like, Mew's drinking and not going to class. To we see him smoking a cigarette. And then 5 minutes later, he's doing a bump of Coke. I feel like that's a bit quick. Maybe it's just me. There's got to be a couple steps in between, right?
Yeah.
Aren't there? An edible? Something?
When they do the Coke, Ray is like, why don't we just get out of here and let's just party on our own? And Mew is like, maybe not. Maybe let's live
Ray
our life.
Ray goes in for a kiss, and Mew's like, let's go back to the party.
Back to the party.
Oh, babes, it's not good. That's why Ray is still stringing Sand along, because he knows
it's gonna
crash and burn.
But I mean, really smart to kind of still add that in there to be like, it's still planting the seeds that like this is all just Mew acting out.
Yeah,
Oof.
It's all to get attention. Top comes to this party
dressed as
Top Gun.
Very funny.
I like that. He's somehow very quick. Oh, there's a...
Because they're like, what are you doing here? You were not invited to this party.
Yeah. There's an argument, blah, blah, blah. And then Mew goes...
Excuse me.
And Top is like...
Are
you doing coke?
He's like, whatever
are you talking about?
do you mean? Girl, if you don't shut up.
Girl, there is a very specific instance that happened to us in college where they had baked some brownies, but were very theater kid about it. Do you know what I mean when I say that without getting too specific?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So hot. It's very that.
Hilarious in hindsight.
In hindsight, so funny. In the moment,
I was like, girl, if you don't shut
who cares?
Who cares?
Be interesting. Read a book. Spell Pharaoh. Mew's like, you don't get to tell me your opinions. You lost that privilege. It is a privilege, not a right.
Because it's a privilege to pee.
And then he throws his drink in Top's face. Now, nothing really... This didn't escalate to the point at which that needed to happen. It felt like Mew was like, I've just always wanted to throw a drink in somebody's face.
Yes, it's just like...
It felt very Housewives.
It felt very Housewives. Yes. Don't you ever touch my husband. Don't you ever talk about my husband.
She does defend you, Kim. She does defend you. Why
don't you eat a piece of bread? Maybe you'll feel better.
So then...
It's not nice to talk to her like that, Kim. It's just not. You don't understand the relationship.
Mew, like, in public, makes out with Ray.
Yes.
Which is interesting because when they were alone,
yes,
was like, whoop.
Yeah.
Whoop. So...
It's all
for attention.
It's all for show.
And then Ray retorts, I think it's to Shum. He retorts, are you my mom? She's dead. Because she's like, you're ruining your life.
Who are you, my mom? Because she's dead. So you can't be you. It's giving unhealed.
He's got a long way to go.
He's got a long way to go.
And his therapist, I hope he hires 8 Senses therapist.
Yeah, that bitch is like, girl.
She'd fix him right up, but only if he's willing to do the work. It's important to remember. Nick is at this party as well, and he is the cutest little fucking person there.
Little detective going an ass. And it's so cute because he's like, I want to look good so that way when Boston sees me, he realizes that like I'm doing great, and he'll want to come back to me.
Oh, we've all thought the same thing before once in our lives, girl. We get it.
It's just true. It's like pure first love.
But like Mark in Glasses is so cute.
Oh yeah.
So he's hoping Boston will show up. He came with Sand. Sand was like, I wasn't going to come to this party, but I came for you. Except he's being used because he just really wants to talk to Boston. It's a whole thing anyway. Sand is dressed as
Freddie Mercury with no mustache.
So Nick sees Boston, goes up to him, and is like, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing really well. I actually got I'm getting an internship at an animation company. I'm going to work on a movie. Anyway, how's it going for you? And like Boston's like not responding. He's like, so what's up? And Boston's like, how about you leave me alone? Because I don't want to talk to you. And then they get into a little bit of an argument about how he was like, you shouldn't have rigged my car, but also
you shouldn't have been a slut.
You shouldn't have been cheating. And well, he wasn't real. I mean, it's a whole back and forth and blah, blah, blah.
And Miss Adam appears.
And Adam shows up, Atom, and is like, hey, Boston, good to see you. You look so hot tonight. And in Adam's defense, Neo looks real good in this red leather jacket. Sand has found another Freddie Mercury at this party. Okay?
Their conversation is so crazy because they're like, yeah, I went with Freddie Mercury because I really admire him a lot. You know, I love his music and I love that he fucks guys. Sand is like, oh, so you're bisexual as well. Well, me too.
Yeah.
And then they're about to make out, and then Ray interrupts them. But it's
Ray
like
cockblocks, I think the third time on the show.
Just the wildest conversation. But the cock block is giving. Well,
if we all wanna,
if we all wanna get into it, Mama.
If you seek Amy,
I'll be here too.
1, 2, 3.
And this was when it was like, oh wow, yeah, he really just.
You know what you gotta fill? You know what you gotta fill your empty holes with? Jesus Christ! That's not what I meant. You have to fill the parts of yourself that are like empty. God, there's not a good way to say it. You have to. Your cup need runneth over. You have to love yourself first.
Love yourself, tear.
It's tear. Sand isn't happy about the situation because he really thought he was going to get some, and then he didn't, and then this guy feels really awkward and leaves. So Sand is like, I'm not your second choice.
Yeah, he says, I'm not your second choice, and just like, leave me the fuck alone.
And Ray's like, but I know you like me, blah, 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 blah. He's like throwing it back in his face.
Yeah.
The Ray spiral is real bad.
He is actively pushing the people away. And then when they inevitably leave, he can say, see, I told you. Everyone leaves.
Yeah.
No one loves me.
Yeah.
Because, girl.
Yeah, it's bad.
I'm really getting sick and tired of these girls.
Boston and Adam are sitting out by the pool.
And Adam is like, yeah, I just broke up with my girlfriend.
She's such a bitch.
She's such a bitch. Sure.
This is almost the exact plot of half the gay porn I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's not even a joke.
Yeah.
And he's like, so anyway, what that mouth do?
Literally.
It's just so like, wild.
Yeah, I broke up with my girlfriend. So anyway, you're probably the hottest man I've ever seen in my life.
So think about that.
And then Shum comes out and is like, please don't talk to my little brother. And I'm like,
don't ruin someone else's life.
Well, guess what, Mimi?
Guess what?
She will.
Unfortunately, there's 4 more episodes.
And I really think she will.
So Boston goes and sits with Top. who's sitting on a little bench at the party. And then Mew walks up, and they're not even having a real conversation.
They're just like sadly sitting.
Boston is still trying to be like, I bet Ray and Mew have fucked so many times, so I was right the whole time, blah, blah, blah. Like, Boston, shut. Everyone stop. Everyone leave this party. The vibes are so bad.
Everyone needs to leave this party.
Mew comes over and is like, oh, the two lovers are back at it again. What are you doing? Fucking at the party? Everybody come look. Come see. And this is when I was like, okay, Mew, it's time to dial it back.
Now it's embarrassing.
It's not fun anymore.
It's not fun anymore.
It's not camp anymore.
It's not camp anymore.
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
And then he goes, after he yells at them, he goes and throws up. Top comes in and like sits with him in the kitchen while like Mew kind of like passes out.
Yeah. And Mew, before he passes out, he's like, why did you do all this, basically?
Mm-hmm.
To Top.
Yeah. Why did you force me to do coke? Your actions led me to this moment. It's basically what he is insinuating, which is like, take some responsibility
for yourself, girl.
The police show up.
They said, girls, this is a residential area. This is Anaheim, and it's past 9:30. Okay? And it's time to shut this party down.
Yeah.
The fireworks have gone.
Wrap it up.
And they were like, we're sorry. We're just, we're university students. We're like top honor roll. We're just like, we're really just trying to this is our project. We're just celebrating it.
And then they were like, okay. Anyway, are there drugs?
And he was like, well, I have to go check. This crew starts searching everyone, and Sand runs to find Ray to make sure that he gets rid of all of his drugs. He is passed out, presumably done more lines.
Why does Sand feel the need? I mean, so the whole thing is right, because we've set up that he has already gone to court once and gotten community service, that if he gets caught with something else, it's going to be another infraction, which is going to send him to jail.
Yes.
So I understand, like, the stakes have been raised, but let him go to jail. That's fine.
Let him go to jail.
Sweat it out.
He wakes up Ray, and Ray is, even at this point, Ray was like, it's fine. I'll talk my way out of it or whatever. But Sand is like, no, girl, they're like literally here, and like,
we gotta go.
And on their way out, they get caught.
Yep.
They reach into his pocket. They grab a little. I think that I dropped my stash.
Yes. It's very Mimi Marquez.
I know I've seen you out and about when I used to go out.
Your candle's out. And Sand is like, oh yeah, somebody must have just like slipped that in his pocket.
Sand, if you don't shut. Now you are involved in this.
You got involved because you just lied for what? There is no...
But
if you're gonna lie,
Adam, Sand has been saving his mom his entire life.
Oh, but you just mean he has a savior complex.
He saves people.
That's his thing. Because
at a very young age, he had to look at me diagnose. Just me and the internet girlies diagnosing fake people. Because he's had to do that since
he had to grow up so quick.
Just like Lisa from Babes in Toyland. She stopped believing in, just the magic of childhood and believing. So they seize him, Ray. He's on the ground.
They're both on the ground.
And Top is like...
Top comes up.
Let me handle this.
Officer,
come over here. And gives him a fat envelope of cash.
Yeah. Thick. He had it ready.
So presumably...
Why does he save... This is a great question. Why does he save Ray? Because at the end of the day, he still knows it's Mew's friend. And he still wants Mew to be happy. That's the best reading I can give it.
He feels remorse and responsibility over blowing this whole thing out.
I definitely feel that he feels, now that it is out in the open, he definitely feels remorseful in a way that I did not feel that he felt remorse before it blew up.
When it wasn't known.
Yes.
Publicly known.
Yes.
But Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. I mean, he did listen to our episode where we were like, you gotta look like you're trying. He's trying. He still looks hot, so it's a little... He didn't really listen to that part.
It's hard with the pilot costume. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's paratrooper-ass, whatever. Shum is basically like, Ray, you're fucking cut off my life.
Oh.
I want you to leave everyone alone. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're a degenerate. You don't even care about, like, preserving your own life. And now it's, like, harming all of us and, like, all of the things that were worked for. But, like, just laying it on
She says that her and Mew are third wheels to the mess that... No, it's her and Boston are the third wheels to Mew and Ray, like, destroying their lives.
Yes. My biggest thing about Top and Mew is that it just feels like they're just going to be like, and now let's rebuild. And the crash felt so crazy, insane, huge. They were punching. There's coke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say, in what you were saying earlier, I think you are right. Every character is at their lowest point at the end of this episode. Mm-hmm. Or that's how it... I don't know how it could get lower. I mean, I can think of ways, but...
I can think of ways. Boston is going to ruin Shum's life now.
Sure.
By ruining her brother's.
Sand comforts Nick, and they leave together. Mm-hmm. So he didn't get arrested, thank God. And then in a post-credits moment, Adam goes home with Boston. And I wish this Adam was going home with Boston. Say that.
You put everyone in the pit of hell except for Mew, Nick, and Sand. But they were in level 5.
Okay.
I put Mew's in the pit of hell.
Mew is definitely in the pit of hell. For sure. Ray is definitely in the pit of hell. I'm gonna say
Boston on top.
But see, the problem is Boston didn't do anything this episode to come out of the pit of hell. Mm-hmm. He's still there. If this was Monopoly, they're all paying rent. Paying rent to Boston. Top, I think, is moving one step up. I think he's moving back to extreme.
Down.
Whatever. You know what I meant. Top is out of the pit of hell. Nick, he's at 4, which is high.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, it's not extreme, it's severe. I just remembered. Sand. I think
keep him.
I think he stays at
I think he
severe.
stays there. Because he can't
help himself.
He can't unlatch from Ray.
Yeah. We need to release the teat. Unlatch.
No hookups again.
What the fuck?
What is this dry spell, Mama?
I'm going to have to go watch Playboy.
And you have been, girl.
Is it good? No. Am I watching? Yes.
But your MVPs?
My MVP this episode. Oh! Do we have the same one?
I think so.
Shum?
Yeah.
Yeah. For that monologue at the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And for her, and maybe this is just the makeup and hair styling team, her hair and its like perfect waves are so pretty.
Yeah.
That has less to do with her acting. But
yeah. And Shum also, like, at the end when everyone's kind of, like, leaving the party, she has this very sweet moment of her...
with April.
Just, like, laying on April. Mm-hmm. And it's bittersweet because this is what we were expecting, right? From the very beginning of the show. It was like, this poor girl, all of her friends are going to, like, blow up around her, and she's going to, like, feel like it's going to have nothing.
Can I say that this episode felt the end of this episode, this felt like a classic Grey's Anatomy. You see all the characters in their...
yeah. Chase,
we'll do it all.
Snow Patrol is playing, yeah.
Somebody recut the end of this episode where they're just flashing through the different scenes, take out all of the audio, and recut it with Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol.
Yeah. I think of... the end of Tabula Rasa, where Giles is leaving, Tara is leaving.
Yeah. Others are doing what they're
sad.
doing. Yeah.
And it's Michelle Branch singing Goodbye. Goodbye to you. Goodbye to everything that I knew.
Michelle Branch, the voice of a generation.
I loved Michelle Branch, Vanessa Carlton.
Oh.
Back to back.
Baby, you couldn't tell me shit.
We get to meet Daddy Dan.
Oh, baby. We already did meet him, technically.
Yeah, but this time.
And we know.
And then now Nick meets him biblically.
Boeing is coming.
Mama,
we all
that flight
can
is
feel
landing,
it.
girl.
The flight is coming in for a landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.